Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video I want to review the D-Arts Mega Man X in full armor. He stands 5¼ inches tall, just shy of that. He's a super articulated figure with tons of accessories and good old things like that. So let me talk about the accessories first. He comes with this blast effect, which is gigantic. It's translucent blue, really sculpted nicely. It has this piece right here on the back. It is removable. We'll get to why it's removable in a second. And it has a peg here so that it can fit into his blaster. Now, a lot of people complain that once you put it in the blaster, it's just far too heavy for him. And obviously it is. It weighs more than he does. I don't get why they complain though, because he also comes with a small stand made just for the blast effect. Wow, that thing is heavy. I don't know if you guys could hear, but that made a loud noise when it hit the table. It has a peg hole, which is kind of tricky to find, but it does have a peg hole so that the stand can hold the blast effect. It's hinged at 2 points, one there, and it rotates at both points as well. So if you can't get him to hold the blast effect, use the stand and you can do whatever you want with it. If you don't want it up against his hand anymore, as if he'd already fired it, just remove that, and then you just have the blast. So there's the one blast effect. The second blast effect is this one, which should be familiar to those of you who have the original Mega Man and not the full armor. It's these 3 yellow blasts. They pop apart so that you can either give him one blast if you want to. Well, this comes off for the same reason as the other one. If you want them separated, you can do that. However, they don't have a stand. So you can still peg them in like this if you want to, but you don't have the blast thing. So I would just leave that on there for these. But what you can do is take this part out and the top part out and just make a single blast if you want to. And I think that looks pretty good. But you can also interchange them however you want to. So you can do pretty much whatever you want. And they do spin, obviously, since they are just pegged together. So it's like if he's jumping and firing at the same time, he's got 3 different levels. And they are nice and translucent. So those are pretty cool. So those are the 2 blast effects. Took part of his hand off with it. While that's off, I might as well show you that he has the one opened blaster so you can peg the blast effects in. And if you don't want to use those, he's got the one with the gem in it, the little plastic jewel thingy. So then it's just lit up orange. So that's pretty cool. And those just peg in and out. So that's what you have there. For the other accessories, you have a secondary arm for his right arm. So if you don't want to use the blaster arm, that just pops off. And you can peg this one in. Now the peg system is not the best for these, so they do kind of come off too easily, I think. But either way, it does work. He's got the secondary arm there, and then he's got different hands you can put in on either side. So he's got one of these hands for each side. He's got an open hand for the right and the left, and he's got a fist hand for the right and the left. So he has a total of 4 different interchangeable hands. They are semi-metallic. I don't know if that's showing up on camera, but it's a really nice metallic blue that those are made out of, so that's pretty cool. As far as the face goes, he has 3 different faces. He has the standard one here, and then he also has these 2 alternate faces as well. Paintwork on all of those is very nice. Now how you change the face, this guy's kind of a tricky figure to swap out the faces. The head separates nice and easily. Just pry it apart a little bit gently. You don't want to pull too much in one direction and risk bending one of the tabs. So you pull out forward, you'll see there's lots of pegs and tabs in there. And you can grab the face by this piece here, and what you want to do to get it out is to kind of just rotate the helmet part back and forth, kind of just wiggle it until the head comes out. It's going to come out like that. So you want to tuck the chin kind of in and out. That's the best way to do it. And of course the faces are all the same. So again, just so you can see, like I said, this guy's a little tricky. Take the chin part, put it in, and then kind of swing it into place like that. It's hard to do on camera since I can't see what I'm doing, but that's the best way to get it to go. And then it just snaps back together if you don't drop it on the floor. Okay, so let's just put it back together and put it back on the figure. While it's off, I can show you the articulation for the neck. It's got a ball disc right there. At the top of the neck, rotates and has all the hinge work in there. And then at the bottom, it's just a socket for the ball peg that is in the neck right now. Okay, so let's put that back on. So full range of motion on the head, which is really nice. You can pose them however you want to. Shoulders are standard ball and socket right there. Then these are actually a ball disc for the shoulder itself. So you can swing the arm up and separately from the shoulder socket itself. And then the shoulder pad has its own hinge as well. So plenty of range of motion there. Before I move on, I forgot to mention he's got these clear gems on his helmet. One there, one on each earpiece. Those are really nice. He also has them on his feet, which looks really, really cool. And then there is also, are they on the blaster? Okay, they're not on the blaster. The blaster is just painted except for that front one. Just wanted to point those out. Now, articulation, he's got a bicep swivel at the bottom of the shoulder ball, and double hinged elbow, which is really effective. And that pops off as well. You can swap out all these parts with the standard Mega Man parts if you have that figure. That's why they all come off so easily. Personally, I think it's a little bit too easily, but they are all meant to be interchangeable. And technically, they're all interchangeable with Zero as well. His hands are on standard ball pegs. Well, actually, they're double ball pegs, but either way, they have great range of motion, even though they don't have any hinges built in. Pretty good range of motion, especially for having the armor there. Both joints at the torso have double ball joints, so plenty range of motion. You really shouldn't have any trouble posing him at all. You can get him to bend however you want him to, and it'll work just fine. The waist twist isn't the best, but it's pretty effective. I mean, you can get him to go pretty much as you would need him to, so I wouldn't really complain about that too much. The hips are kind of a weird joint. It's a ball joint inside the hip itself, connected to the top of the thigh. It has a swivel built in there, but there's also a hinge mechanism inside the hip, which lets the leg swing forward. Now, because of that, it doesn't swing out to the side too much. That's about as far as you're going to get, but you don't really need it that much, I think. Forward's pretty good, and it's great range of motion, I'd say. I'm pretty pleased with it. The knees are the same as the elbows, double jointed, so full range of motion there. The feet have like 4 different joints built into the ankles. It's kind of hard to show you, but there's a couple ball joints, a couple hinges, and a ball disc, so you can really get the feet to go in any pose, any position you want. And as you can see, the hand just fell off. So sometimes the arms do fall off a little bit too easily, but you should be able to live with it. I can, and I'm a stickler for that kind of thing. So it's not too big of a deal. Just pop it back on. If you can see what you're doing. Best to not pose these while looking through a camera's screen. But either way, the figure overall looks really good. The articulation's great, as you can see. Paintwork's pretty solid. I have a couple little flaws. As you can see, there's one on the torso right there, but nothing too big. The metallic gold and the metallic silver look great, particularly on the feet. Awesome looking figure. And let's put the blaster on before I go so I can show you how the blast effect looks. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the big blast effect. It's just too big, I think. So what I did is I made a bunch of my own blast effects, and I'll post a video showing you guys those if you want to see them. They are also for sale, but that's up to you guys. Either way, this is what the big blast effect looks like. I put the wrong front piece on. And it does work. I think it works just fine with the, as long as you use the stand, even because it's incredibly heavy. And this stand's clear, so it's not too obvious and ugly. The peg hole is pretty tricky to find, though. There it is. So just put that on there. And you can pose it however you need for it to work. And I think it works just fine. I don't really understand why people are complaining about it. I think it's perfectly fine like that. I'm not going to complain about it. I mean, what do you want? It's a toy. It's not a real life thing. So I'm perfectly happy with how that turned out. So there it is, guys. There's the Mega Man full armor from D Arts, Mega Man X. And once I get the regular version of Mega Man, I will do that review as well. I already did Zero, so check that video out. And stay tuned for some other action figure reviews and some customs and some more good stuff like that. Thanks for watching, guys. And in the meantime, keep collecting.